welcome back to another episode of the MartiniWorks Podcast. It is season 2, so it's episode 2, and we decide to eat Alex.
Again.
Whoa, what?
He's gone.
Yep.
Kicked him out of his own shop. I never wanted to see him again.
Thanks for the shop, Alex. We got Dustin now.
Yeah, who are we here with? Why don't you give yourself a little introduction? Not that you've been on the podcast
Yeah,
before,
man, I was here season 1, episode 6 or something.
You remember the episode?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I just pulled it out of my head, but I'm so glad that
There's
you
no
guys
way it was episode
You guys
6.
thought that was real, and that was cool
episode
as fuck.
6. I think we were still in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Or
give yourself an introduction, Dustin. Who are you? What do you
well,
like?
so my name's Dustin, obviously, as Dakota very graciously introduced me, and I like trucks.
Cool. Okay, so if we're talking cars, though, real quick, just so the audience can get a sense of who you are. USDM, JDM, or Euro, pick one. That's all you get. What do
All
you
of
get?
them.
No.
Dude, I can't, dude.
Boo, you're losing
all right,
audience.
hold on, fine.
You're losing
Okay.
audience.
Either JDM or Euro, I think.
You're still not picking one.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I could pick one.
Okay,
I
he's
just
too
like
nice.
cool stuff. I don't know.
It's too nice. All right, so what we'll do here is we'll just get into the podcast. We'll check on how things are going. Gels, I know the car is still making noise, but you've been doing some endeavors with the
Just
Grom.
calling it out, Jesus.
Yeah, the BMW is still making noise from the fucking autocross excursion that we put it through, and I cannot track it down to what it is, but the car drives. It makes a little bit of noise, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna fall apart, and it's gotten me this far. So
Fuck it, we ball.
I'll just see what happens. We're gonna roll with it. I dug into the Grom last night, so I did get a graphics kit for the Grom.
Hell
LFG,
yeah.
Super excited about it. So it's from 77 Decals. They make a bunch of like pre-cut like liveries and like graphics kits for like Groms and like the Suzuki ones, I think, or like anything of like that genre of like tiny motorcycle they fuck with, and like they make some like crazy graphic kits. So I got one that's like remnant of the Mazda 787B livery, so it's like the green and orange
Rotary gang.
yeah, so it's a little sacrilegious to put probably Mazda stuff on a Honda bike, but fuck it. I think I just know it's gonna look so sick parked next to the RX-8.
Honda bike, Mazda graphics.
I don't give a damn.
There it is. Do they make like Dustin? You mess with a little bit of vinyl too. Obviously, there's a pre-cut Grom kit, which I understand is a lot easier than having a pre-cut car kit. But is there pre-cut car kits?
No, not really. So a lot of times what happens is when you look at a full wrap like that, you work off a template and then you design it and you print like these massive panels and then you lay them on individually. Printed wraps suck to apply because you have to account for the stretch of the material coming over like fenders and
I
stuff.
didn't think of that.
And if your lines are even a half inch off, you'll see that.
That's why I think it's crazy. Like I look at these shops that obviously do like installations for like businesses and stuff, where obviously like the whole like side of like a panel van is wrapped with like this huge graphic, and it's like, man, I know doing like the RX-8 even, I was like, dude, if this was like had some sort of like pattern or anything in it, it would be distorted as shit because I have been like pulling the fuck out of this material. So that stuff's insane. Luckily though, this is more of just like the Grom like fenders and plastics, at least my generation, is everything is so angular. It's like a fucking stealth fighter. Like there's no there's no like
it's not round.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's like everything is like angled at like a 45-degree angle, and so it's like a sticker for like each one of those flat surfaces.
Oh, that's sick.
So it should be pretty relatively easy to install. However, I'm going the extra mile because my Grom is red, and because of that, I feel like around the edges, since it's not like
It doesn't edge
wrapping
roll, yeah,
over, it would show through red in some parts. So I tore the whole thing down last night. Probably broke a couple things, but it's fine. That's why they make super glue. And I'm gonna wrap it matte black before putting that on, so everything looks clean.
That's smart.
Well, then if you have like, if any of your stickers don't lay correct either, you know, any like 1/4-inch gap or whatever, you're just
Exactly. So I'd rather just have it because like there's not mine specifically. It's only like the top portion of the plastics or fairings or whatever is red. The rest of it's like matte, like just black plastic. And I was actually able to separate that from the rest of it, so it should be pretty easy.
right on.
Sick. What do you got going on, Dustin? You got a big old Duramax.
I got a
old
lot of
truck.
stuff. Yeah. So
stop.
logistics expertise is here. Anytime we haul anything to shows anywhere, it's typically me. So big tow guy, you know, big tow guy.
Okay.
What about the little toe?
Yeah.
Middle toe? Nobody talks
Nobody
about
talks about the middle toe, bro.
Respect all
It's always
toes.
the pinky toe or the big toe, but it's never the middle
It's never like these three.
Yeah,
They don't get no love. They don't get no respect.
I'm out here.
Who's your toe guy?
He is.
Oh Lord. Anyway, I think it's just a lot of maintenance for me right now. You know, trying to make sure the truck's got some oil leaks. Well, you know, I mean, it's got over 250,000 miles on it now. It's a
Jesus,
15-year-old.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, she's
put to
doing
work.
okay. That truck has seen some shit, and so yeah, it's a lot of that. New lift kit to go in it, hopefully.
Whoa, I didn't know you were doing a new lift kit.
Oh yeah.
Seen you put some goodies on
Is
it
it
over the winter.
higher, shorter, the same?
So the kit is a 7 to 9 right now. I'm on a 4.5 for reference.
Oh my God.
But well, GM trucks they're adjustable, right? So the way the front suspension works, so we'll probably dial it down to like 5-ish. But the kit has potential then when we buy an actual tow rig, right? An actual like dually, then I can go big, and then we'll go like 6s and 7s, or maybe 16 wides even. Like then we'll ball for the
Those
ground.
are numbers.
26s and 37s.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
Yee.
Yeah,
Yee.
I want the
say
deep
yee.
lip.
Yeah.
But yeah, got that. Put some train horns on it so we can wake everybody up.
Nice.
That's super cool.
That's classic.
152 decibels. They'll blow your eardrums out if you blow them inside. Don't do that.
Oh my God. Especially in here, because like
Yeah.
you can't really tell in the podcast these mics are fucking awesome, but it echoes like a bitch. 'Cause we're
It's
just in
so
a
bad.
tin rectangle, which we need to get some sound deadening, by the way. But yeah, don't honk the horn in here.
No, I won't.
We would all die. Everyone
With
would
great
die.
power comes great responsibility. You'll
100%.
literally rupture someone's eardrums.
Oh my
It's
God, I hate
terrible.
that.
Thanks, Uncle Ben.
R.I.P. Uncle Ben. I've been doing some stuff for the Supra. I do have a couple of things. Dude, somebody hit me up and they had the HKS strut bars for the front. They're like strut braces and they're carbon fiber and they look sick. And paired with that, a harness. It's like the harness bar in the car, but it's actually not a harness bar. It's like structural support that sits behind the seat. It has that metal bar.
Oh, cool.
Well, they have the HKS one that's all carbon fiber, and it gives you a lot more room because being a taller, bigger fellow, I kind of have my seat like almost all the way back against that bar, so that would give even more room, and it looks dope, so it's a win-win. And then the third win-win-win is it's HKS, and that's fucking sick.
And it would look pretty sick with your
There-
HKS carbon fiber intake that
Yeah.
you have.
For the pair of those two things, it's well over 1,000.
Jesus.
That doesn't surprise me. Carbon
Because it
fiber
says
doesn't
HKS
surprise
on
me.
it.
It's HKS, it's carbon fiber. And, it's
And
really
the
nice.
guy that had it told me $500.
Yo!
So
but
what
it
are we waiting?
Oh, wait. There's a but.
is Valentine's Day.
Well,
So she's not buying them for you?
No,
That's kinda
I'm not
fucked
gonna
up.
make her do that. No,
Maya,
we
be
actually
better.
decided that we were just gonna get dinner. That's what we're doing for Valentine's Day.
good,
No
yeah.
bullshit.
We
No
typically
dinner.
We
Bullshit.
typically do the same
Heart-shaped
thing.
pizza.
Oh no, we don't
Little
do that.
Caesars? No, that's
Rockies.
Rockies. Oh my
We don't
God.
do heart shape. Heart shaped pizza, bad value. What?
Well,
Same
I could
price,
see your
less
argument,
pizza.
but it's neat. You do it once a year. When else are you
buy
having
a regular
Where
pizza
else
and cut
you
it into
get-
the shape
but
of a
where
heart,
else
bro.
you getting heart-shaped pizza?
At home when I make my own
No,
pizza.
no, all right. Fuck.
Anyways, I'm broke. I want the parts. I can't get the parts. That's where I'm at.
Need to get pizza.
Need to
and
get
then
pizza.
The Jetta's been jettying. I don't know.
I love that little car.
I really have enjoyed it. It was fun working. It might be time for her to go and start another project. Though.
Really?
Ooh.
I'm not for sure yet on it. I'm not so. I haven't posted it for sale. I haven't even thought what I would ask if I did sell it. But
Yeah.
I just I'm always cruising.
Is there
through
anything
Marketplace
else that
and
you're looking to do with it yet? Like, is there anything that's like pending that
there-
you have? Like,
there's stuff that I would want to do with it. Honestly, I did want to like pop a skid plate on it. I thought about getting since the headliner's sagging, swapping out for a black one. I
yeah,
think
that'd
that
go
would
a
be a
long way.
lot better.
Starry Night headliners.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
I wanted to put an intake on it because why not? It has an aftermarket exhaust. Might as well put an intake on it to help them VR6 noises.
Yeah.
And then just a couple little maintenance items too. And that's about it. Oh, I need to replace one of my struts still.
Yeah.
Because it got all chooched up after install. That it clunks like a motherfucker. And I don't think it was a coilover fault. It was like us when I put it on, the nut just kind of freaking got stripped on it. So it doesn't.
Stripped
the nut
nut.
doesn't move now, and the nut's on a
I hate it
post.
when the nuts don't move, man.
Dude, the internal post also moves with the nut.
It is.
You're talking on the top hat?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the-
that sucks.
Dude, it's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
worst.
And when it's
design.
stuck and bound up,
What kind of coils?
silvers.
Okay,
But like I
gotcha.
said, it's not. That's just like
Yeah, it's not-
how
it's
it
not the
mounts.
brand issue.
No, it's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
it mounts to that car, and it's
Yeah.
just like that style, and it's fucking sucks. dude.
The Mustang's like that too. The S550 has a in the rear. It mounts to like the lower control arm.
You guys
and
ran
then-
into issues with
yeah,
that too.
and then the front or the top, excuse me, is like a flange. It comes up through the bottom, and then there's a 2-bolt flange that holds it to the subframe. And I learned with that car, by the way, monumental discovery for me. You're supposed to torque your suspension bits under pressure or under weight.
yeah, I've heard.
I
of
never thought about
I
that, but that
never
makes more
knew
sense.
that.
that. Yeah, I've
never
heard
knew
that,
that.
especially with like if you're fucking with like sway bars and stuff like that. Obviously,
yep,
too.
yep.
You're supposed to like let it down on its weight and then tighten
Yeah,
everything.
so
but
when we
it's
did-
kind of hard when the fucking car's on the ground.
Well, so what I did with the Mustang is we just put it on jack stands, and then we'd put the jack underneath the knuckle
Oh, and just
lift
lifted
the
it up.
knuckle up until it basically lifted the car up. But
Truck guy.
But like we had the same issue where we installed them, and then like everything was snug. Like I ugga-dugga the piss out of it because nobody uses torque specs. It's just not the way it works.
Not too often.
And the car made a ton of noise on the whole way down to
that's
Chattanooga, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? I tightened everything, and then I found out you're supposed to torque it under pressure.
So it was enough to.
I
Really
picked it up. I got a quarter turn out of the fastener. It was enough to make noise. Wow. I was like, whoa.
Dang, that's crazy. So yeah, your wife has a Mustang,
Yeah,
EcoBoost, right?
2016 S550 EcoBoost.
What do you think of that car?
I love that car. Listen, if you can step past the whole like it's a Mustang American muscle V8 blah blah blah. That car slaps, okay? It's really well balanced, right? Turbo 4-cylinder, has plenty of power. She's got some bolt-ons to it, so it makes like 360 squared.
Dude, that's
like,
crazy.
it makes good
more than
power.
any of my cars.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's enough to be fun, right? It's independent rear end, so it
Finally.
drives well, it balances well, and the caveat on top of that is because the entire car is designed to have a fire-breathing 5-liter V8 under the hood. You pop the hood and you can physically touch all
much
four
room.
sides of the engine block. It's the only car I've ever owned outside of my '92 K1500 that you can touch every side of the engine
Hell
block.
yeah.
It's awesome.
You should see my 240. You can step into it.
Yeah, I picked that car up. I know.
Yeah, you can 100%.
My favorite thing is like I remember I was working on something up in the pits one time at the US Air, and I had to get in there. I literally just like stepped into the engine bay because there's no like sides to it. It's like a semi-tubed like front. I don't know what's all going on up there. But
some
basically
fab work.
it's an engine. And then all the suspension components, and that's really about it. And I needed to get at something. I think it was replacing like a fuel line. I'm just like, fuck it. Everyone's
Jump
looking
into
at
it
me
and
like,
sit on the fender.
like, what the hell was going on?
No, they're probably like, that's fucking
It's so sick, dude. It's so sick.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I do like that car. It looks good. I know that they're capable of some pretty decent things. And
The power
they're
that they
honestly
make
slept
is
on.
And
super
for
respectable.
her, like 360 horsepower is plenty, right? Like she's never owned anything super high HPs before. So, my only complaint is I wish those cars came with like a DCT or a dual clutch of some sort. It's just got a slop box 6-speed in it, but even that is good enough.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they
car
are
slaps.
ripping out there.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell
what's
they're
going
doing out
on?
there, but they are.
Somebody's
shredding
doing cooler shit than us.
Yeah.
At the shop, we gotta get out of
it. I
here.
just fell off the chair. There was like, Jesus Christ!
Stop it.
I literally
All right.
like shimmied forward and
Here's a question for you, Dustin.
hit me.
Your wife has the Mustang, the 4-cylinder. You tooled around with it, had some fun with it. You also owned a GTI in the past. What year was it again?
17.
If you had to pick one of those cars to get again, what would you get?
As just like a one and done, you can only buy one car.
Yeah, either the Mustang or the GTI. Where-
Probably the GTI.
I did like
But hear me out. First of all, I loved that car. It was my favorite car I've ever built ever. It was very
was a
much
cool
so like
car.
OEM plus,
Yep.
and everything about it felt good. It was a killer car, and I got a killer deal on it. But I think for me specifically, I drive so much and I go a lot of long distance that
Yeah.
in the wintertime up here, the Mustang's just not super practical.
Yeah.
You can still drive it. Snow tires help a lot. Like
Right.
it works. But if you need to commute anything more than outside of town, the rear-wheel drive, in the wintertime can be a little sketch sometimes. The GTI, you put snow tires on that thing, you plow fucking anywhere. It doesn't matter.
yeah, 100%.
But what about boosted Miatas?
I loved that car. Oh my God, I loved that car.
He's a big
so
truck guy,
much.
but he has a dark.
He's got a
dark
history.
past.
No, dude, listen, I have this thing. Let me throw this out there. I have this thing with little cars. And I'm not a small guy. I'm short, but I'm not small, right? I'm
Felt.
relatively square.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm super small.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't blow away today. Wind
Super
is pretty
tiny.
heavy. Yeah,
It
yeah.
is windy.
It's windy as hell. But I have this thing with with little cars that shouldn't be as fun as they are, right? So like the S2000, I fucking love the S2000.
You'd be talking shit. Call
That's
a little
my
car.
That's my favorite. Well, it's not little anymore.
Not little compared to Miata.
Yeah, you're right. But the S2000 is my very favorite car that Alex has ever owned
I'm glad
because
you
it's
said that.
just wild. There's something about little roadsters, and especially I think it's because of the seasonality here, right? Summertime, top down, 70 degrees out when it's 10 o'clock at night. You're banging through
You're
gears
enjoying
and
it.
blasting down a country road as there's stars above you and you've got
wow.
whatever on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, he's painting this picture.
it's a vibe.
See it.
I'm just imagining Dustin with his beard blowing up in his face, driving the Miata all happy.
The other thing I loved about that car, man, is like because they're so short and it was supercharged, right? So you could clutch kick that thing in a corner and it would rotate, and then it was like the center of mass on the car would spin to the point where it would almost like drop into a rail, and you could put that car wherever you wanted to with the flick of a wrist. It was so cool. Like, I don't know how to drift. I've never drifted in my life, but I slid a lot of corners.
Oh, okay.
And tires are $62 a piece because
for
they're
a 15-inch tire.
195 50 R15s or something.
So where's that car?
Where is?
So, okay, here's what happened with that one. That car had a lot of miles on it too, actually. I bought it from a buddy of mine. It was the OEM 5-speed in it yet at 280,000 miles.
Oh my God.
More than the Duramax?
Yeah, and like 260 of them were boosted. So
Holy shit!
that poor,
That's
that
actually
poor
really
5-speed just took it like a trooper, man.
For real.
Holy
and
shit.
I was on the interstate one time, and I always rev match that car because it's just that's what you do, and it's fun and it sounds cool. And it would go, shoop, when it fucking spooled up. So I went to go. I was on 41, and I was in 5th gear cruising, and I went to go downshift into 4th to pass somebody, and I clutch in, rev matched it, and I grabbed the the stick, and it went.
Oh, that's the worst.
Oh no! And it was just stuck. It just wouldn't come out of gear. 5th gear synchro was like, all right, I'm gonna head out.
Oh no!
So the car sat. It sat on jack stands for like a year and a half. I was still in college or just out of college and broke as fuck at that point. So it sat for a while. I never put it back together. Pulled the engine out because let me back up. When I went to go take the trans out finally, I got all the bell housing bolts out except the top one, which is fine because normally guys come in on the top of the engine block, come down, and you can grab it, right? Because it's kind of right in front of the driver compartment.
Sure.
The issue is that's where the supercharger sits.
Oh.
So I stripped it. I stripped the head off.
Oh.
There's no good way to get in it, right? You're like behind the trans, up underneath the tunnel, and it was just weird. So we pulled the motor and trans, pulled the transmission apart. I had a new clutch to go into all that stuff, and then I just honestly ran out of time and lost interest in it.
Yeah.
So I sold it as a roller, a Parts Plus roller, to a guy named Jake Webb, who lived at the time in, I think, Stevens Point. Fun fact about Jake, actually, is he's a little dude, like a little person, and he has like 6 or 7 Miatas. Dude's
I've seen some content on that guy.
yeah, he's super cool. So he bought it, and he had it back together in like a week.
So it's still alive.
Yeah, I think he still has it. He just trashes the fuck out of it.
It lives on.
You should buy it back.
A little Miata that could.
It's probably got over 300,000.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
That's dope.
I would buy another one in a heartbeat, though. Great cars.
That was an A and B.
And B. God, I don't do pop-ups.
What
Sorry.
do you mean you don't do?
I hate pop-up headlights, man.
That's a hot take.
The only car I like pop-up headlights on is the RX-7s.
Why do you hate pop-ups?
I just don't like them. I don't think they look good.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that.
Yeah, it's a very unpopular opinion, and everyone in the comments by this point is now just flaming me. So
You had them?
you
Just threw them all. They're gone.
No, the good news is engagement on the video should be clutch because everyone's going to be talking shit.
Oh yeah, they will. They will.
Well, I think pop-up headlights are good. And speaking of good things, a big shout out to Continental for being the sponsor of the MartiniWorks podcast. If you need tires, you already know, go to MartiniWorks. Check out some Continental tires. If you want some good all-season DWS06 Plus,
Dude,
absolutely
the
the move.
DWS06 Plus is incredible.
Even truck guys know it. You get some more summer performance. You get the Extreme Contact Sport 02, and it's too late for winter. I'm not even going to bring up the winter one.
talk
If you
about
don't have it by now, it's 50 degrees. So
We
I
also
don't
didn't have a winter dog.
Yeah, well, we did.
2 weeks of it.
2 weeks
Not
of
even-
it.
We had one snowstorm.
This was the best
It
winter.
was intense. But yeah, we shouldn't say it. April's going to be the biggest,
we're going to get
craziest.
dumped on.
Anyways, thank you, Continental, for sponsoring the MartiniWorks podcast, and we'll be right back to have a heavy debate. All right, we back.
Yes.
I can't remember if I told this story, but we
Tell
were
the
talking about it.
story.
I love this story so much anyway. So
make it quick.
We'll tell it again.
Coming off at Continental, we went on a trip for Continental in California, and it was a little scavenger hunt. On that scavenger hunt, you had to go take photos with certain things while we were driving around on some Extreme Contact Sport 02s and the new M4.
Subtle
In
flex.
Sick as fuck.
In LA.
Subtle flex.
The sickest thing I've ever done. Anyways, we're going. We got to get pictures with the Hollywood stars, like the ones in the ground. And so we get to that part of town. Dude, traffic, insane. People, insane. So I was like, Giles, just like pull over in the middle of the road and put your parked anywhere button on, aka the flashers, and I will hop out super fast, take a photo, hop back in the car, and we'll split. And he's like, all right. So I he whips over, I open the door, I hop out, and like as I'm about to take the picture, I'm like, whoa, dude, that looks like the D's Nuts guy. I was like, hey, what's up? And he's like walking at me, and he's like, hey, you dropped something. I'm like, what? And I like look around. He's like, D's Nuts. And I'm like, whoa, hey, yo. I'm like, scared. I can't believe all this is happening within 0.2 seconds of exiting the vehicle. I take the photo, get back in the car. I'm like, dude, Giles. Did you hear that?
Yeah, because like he got out and I'm like making sure like no one's gonna hit me. Like people were pissed, they're honking.
Yeah,
I'm like, sorry.
LA,
I'm like
mad.
taking care of this, and all of a sudden I hear these nuts. I'm like, man, that sounded just like. And I like look over and I just see Dakota's like jaw on the ground and him looking at Dakota like. And he gets back in. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? He's like, I just got these nuts by the guy.
I just want to go on record and say the fact that Dakota is speechless should tell you everything you need to know about this story because Dakota is never speechless.
Just D's Nuts by the D's Nuts guy. I never thought it would happen.
Like it was like 5 seconds. All in all, 5 seconds.
And it was the most random spot in the world. It wasn't like a super popular spot. We just
literally just on the street.
I just needed the photo.
It was on the Walk of Fame somewhere. We're just like this. There's like a spot to pull over. Just hop out quick. And
What's wild is if you guys had to pulled over 2 car lengths ahead or 2 car lengths,
Yeah, it
behind,
wouldn't have
you'd
happened.
Never seen him.
Would have never happened.
How wild is that?
It was
How wild is that?
absolute fate. Anyways,
whose star was it? Do you remember?
I can't even remember. Dude, it was just completely right. It was probably a person I didn't even fucking know.
Hey, do
I
you
was
know?
just doing it.
Speaking of stars, did you hear William Dafoe got a star on the Walk of Fame?
Oh, I did. He's
From Appleton. Yeah. He's
Oh,
from
yeah,
here.
that's the Green
super
Goblin.
cool. Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is that? Because I don't know names. But then
Yeah. He's that guy.
he's from Appleton. He's
a local.
Houdini was
Is
raised
also
in
here,
Appleton.
yeah.
Harry Houdini. Did you know that?
This town love Houdini.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we big Houdini guys here.
Big Houdini weenie guy.
Speaking of Houdini,
Air versus static.
Where were you going?
that was exactly where I was going.
I could read
Dakota alley-oop. That's
Yeah.
so good.
So I want to get into that. Should be part of the title of this video is getting into air suspension versus coilovers. It seems like some people, they can see the light and they can see the benefits of both. A lot of people are either like
Bags are for
coilovers,
groceries.
Yep. Or,
I just had to get it out of the
or
way,
they're
sorry.
like, if you're running coilovers, you're a fucking peasant. And you should be running air suspension. I don't think it needs to be like that. And I'm not trying to be like a chode about it. I just think you can have both, and there's a situation for both. And I don't know why people get
Hold on.
so
there is
stinky
both,
about it.
bro. There is both. There's a real both.
But they don't really sell that anymore.
I mean, they're OEM used, so.
OEM, yeah, you're right. Okay,
Talk
which
about
is air cups.
Air cups, right.
Yeah, you want to get into that? You want to explain? If someone didn't know what air cups were, why doesn't someone break it down?
So it's super cool. It's really just a coilover, right? A standard coilover, but then instead of having a top hat that mounts to your car, there's like an air cup or an air bag in there. So you can essentially raise your car up, right, over like your coilover ride height to get into driveways and things like that.
Driveways, trailers.
Yeah,
And
stuff like
that's
that. Yeah.
about the extent.
You
of
do
it.
not drive with it
not
aired
drive
up.
on it.
It's just to like
It's
get up the,
for clearance
assist.
driving,
which
oh,
is
you know,
actually the
low speed.
super nice.
Yeah,
I mean that's
absolutely.
why when your car needs to be higher, just
Right.
for those
You
scenarios.
don't need more ground clearance when you're mobbing down a Florida highway because it's
'Cause-
silky smooth.
yeah,
you need it
because-
for driveways and lifts
Which-
and stuff like that.
I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, then I'm not interested in them. And it's like, okay, well, I have both. I have a really fucking low car on coilovers, and I have an insanely low car on bags.
Yep.
And it's like when I'm driving the RX-8, which is on air suspension, it's like I'm not like I have a preset ride height.
Yeah, the car goes
right,
and
that's
that's
it's like. I always riding at that height. Not like I'm constantly adjusting it when I
like see something
driving
in the road.
around. Yeah, it's like oh nope, the entrance is there, and I hit another preset to then raise up the front a little bit. It's essentially the same fucking thing.
Hear
So
me
it's like
out.
listening.
We have these vehicles now with like what's it called? It's not lane assist, but like the cruise control,
Adaptive cruise.
adaptive
Yeah,
cruise control. Works super good. It's phenomenal. What if Airlift designed something? A little sensor you put right on the front of your grill, and it points down, and it can
measures ground
recognize
clearance?
when something's coming.
That'll come.
And it just
Yeah.
adds a little bit of air.
Did you know there's something kind of like this already
What?
in the C8 Corvette?
Oh,
Really?
I actually did.
Yes,
Really?
Because it in the C8 Corvette, it has, if you get it with air cups,
It's similar.
it takes like known locations that you activate it, and it saves it in like a GPS
cool.
almost.
Like geotags
So it's like
it, so
it
just-
like geotags like your driveway. If you're always activating in the driveway, and it saves up to like 500 or
bunch.
some
That's sick,
locations.
yeah.
And so like you just like get to that location, and it'll just do it automatically, and it knows. And I'm like, that is fucking
and so
ingenious.
it's funny you say that. I did a photo shoot with a C8 Corvette, and I was talking to the guy about it, and it had that feature. And he said it works super good. And like you said, the memory bank is insane on it, and it just saves it by GPS. So even if it was like your favorite restaurant that you're always going to, dude, it'll fucking air it up before you even get there. You don't even have to think about it. Absolutely mind blowing. So you're right. Something is sort of like that out there.
Yeah, I
The
remember.
issue with what you're saying though is that this is where my inner farm kid can come out and actually shine, right? I always stop it. There's a whole nother story about that. I'll tell you. off the air.
Okay.
Okay,
Anyways.
get through this real
But
quick.
what happens is the reason that air won't typically work for that at highway speed is because your compressor can't react fast enough, and your valves won't react fast enough to air that car up and down at highway speed.
Compressor shouldn't matter.
Well, I'm just saying, just the air system in general, right?
Yeah.
can't react fast enough.
You need
So,
some tight lines.
all right, I'm a little uncomfortable.
Because
Anyway,
like, does it have like an actual tank, or does it operate just off of like a compressor?
no, I'm not entirely sure on like OEM air.
Because like that would make sense if it's like if there's like those systems are just operating off a compressor, it just fills it up.
Yeah,
quick
because
with
you
the
have to fire
compressor.
the compressor up. But like even
But if it stores it in a tank that's pressurized, it should be pretty.
so we saw this in planters, right? Because you would use essentially an airbag to provide
Planters.
downforce on the row unit, right? You don't need to know what the row unit is. All you need to know is there's an airbag here keeping something down as you're going across the field and it's bouncing. So what happens is you can't adjust that quick enough at 5 to 6 miles an hour because there's not enough flow, right? You'd have to have like 3-inch air lines to be able to put that much pressure into and out of the bag that quickly. That's why they went to hydraulic. Oh. So I don't doubt that someday there may be some, and we're probably 20 years from this, but
When there's
someday
advanced air.
someone will have either
Synthetic air.
synthetic air. Yeah, it's called
be nitrogen.
hydraulics. But there'll be some sort of hydraulic kit that'll just adjust your ride height.
Anyways, I think a big misconception about air ride is you can't drive your car hard once air is installed. That's a big bahooey.
You can.
You absolutely can.
You can.
100%.
I've done
It's
it.
definitely not going to perform like
No,
There's no
static car,
benefit.
But you're not going to go to the twisties on back road, start beating on your car, and just fucking have a bag pop, is what I'm saying.
Right.
No, I mean unless you're doing piss poor maintenance, but otherwise, yeah.
Well, or you installed them completely wrong. That would be the only
Correct.
case. But if everything's installed properly, dude, you can drive that car as hard as you want, and it'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah, where the argument does come into play, in my eyes, is like you can perform just as well. Honestly, you can. You can have just as much of a good time. The cost wise, like the benefit isn't there. It's like why spend 3 times as much on an air suspension setup when you can get literally the same, if not a little bit better, out of just a coilover setup.
Yeah, I would agree.
So it's like you don't see anyone building like a performance specific car, like a track car, and going with air suspension just because they don't need to.
Did you know
there's
that-
no point for them to?
You
Like,
know that air suspension got its roots originally in motorsports?
Yeah,
in
in
drag
NASCAR.
racing.
Yeah.
Well, in drag racing. Yeah.
I didn't know about drag racing, but I knew NASCAR.
Airlift started originally by creating an air strut that went in the rear of the car to help firm it up on launch because the leaf springs were so soft.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, in Michigan. Of all
Yeah,
places.
actually in Michigan.
no, like it. Yeah, it's in my eyes. Like I don't know, because like I said, I've had both. I've had experience installing plenty of systems of both. Obviously, the installation a little more involved with the air suspension. A lot more possibilities for things to go wrong if you don't do it correctly. But
Agreed.
again, 99.9% of this stuff is going to come down to you as the user and or installer of said system. And honestly, that goes both ways.
Yeah,
You
I
can
agree.
fuck up a set of coilovers just as good.
We just talked about it. Yeah, literally.
I've
It's
done
pretty
it.
easy. It's not that difficult, believe it or not.
Oh, what I would say though, like, is most people, I think coilovers are going to make more sense. I think that's just the way about it. They're more cost effective. They do some stuff better. They're more reliable technically.
Yep.
So it just makes more sense, and I think that's why a lot of people get behind it and they get riled up.
So what about the whole other aspect of like I remember when air suspension was getting really, really big, and like it was like the kits were coming out specifically for cars. Airlift was blowing up because they had like the, basically essentially like the drop-in kits for stuff. The V2 came out, like all the stuff was blowing up, and it was like the scene was like, dude, bags are
it, man.
But then all of a sudden, in the last like I'd say 5 to 6 years or so, it's like if you're not static, you're fucking like, why aren't you static? Like only the real cars drive it like you park it, kind of like. What is with all that?
It's just people just arguing about shit.
I fucking hate the drive it like you park it guys just because like I love static car. I'm all for it. I think it's badass. I don't know how they figure out half that shit and not destroy their car. But the people saying drive it like you park it are an inch off the ground, but they're the same people that are going to the car show and shoving their front bumper and their rear bumper in their car so they don't
or loading their
destroy
car in the
it.
trailer
And
with 16 2x4s.
It looks like fucking shit driving down the road. Like you're not driving it like you park it, you silly goose. Jesus Christ. But yeah, there's that stigma of you get more respect if you're low and you can't air up. You gotta go really slow over the driveway entrance, you bitch. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just it's so interesting just seeing it like flip back and forth like every 5 years or so.
If you put your car on air to do it properly, it's not just like boom, you have air, you have perfect fitment.
No,
it's actually still really hard. There's a lot that needs to be done.
Yeah, because harder, right? When you think
because
about
you're to be done right, because a lot of people want fender to lip on air,
correct,
and it can look really fucking stupid if you air up and you just have a big stretch.
Yeah.
So to do it properly, I would say it could be tough.
It's also because you're dealing with two settings. You're dealing with your aired up setting and you're dealing with your so it's like, coilovers and stuff. Obviously, you need the car to be able to turn, and you need nothing, like essentially nothing to rub, but you want like the good look. For air, it's like obviously you want it to air out, nothing's gonna hit, nothing's gonna break, and you're gonna get a good fitment. But then, like Dakota said, you want to make sure that it looks fucking decent when it's
rolling,
and it's driving, because that's where it's gonna be, 90% of the time when you're in it. So it's like, dude, it was tough. And I remember I messed with my RX-8 for a week or so just because you can the airlift strut, the D2 struts that I have, and I would say most air struts, they're actually adjustable like a coilover. Where like the lower body will raise and lower like a coilover does. Now, what that does is, so like if you're at 0 PSI, say it's all the way aired out, you can adjust that height. Now, when you raise that up and add air into it to your ride height, now is when your pressure comes into play, and your pressure is essentially going to be like your spring rate. So if like, I only needed to add like 30 pounds of pressure into my bags, and I'm like
take
sky
it over
high,
a bump, bro.
Now your freaking wheels are going to be, like going all over. So you got super soft spring rate essentially. So it's like I was trying to dial that in for a while because like I was like fucking hitting my over fenders and stuff like crazy because I was running like lower pressure, but like the car was like really high. So I hadn't found out that I had to like go in and like adjust,
bring
the
that
actual
the
like
base
suspension
plate
up, so I could have. I think I run between 70 and 80 pounds. Between the front and rear.
I ran 40/40 in the ST.
Yeah, you were good.
It was pretty low, but it drove fine. Drove fine.
Yeah, I think the other thing you have to think about too with airbags is like, when you air that out, that doesn't just, it's not just like a cup on the top, right? Like air cups are. When you dump that bag, that whole suspension geometry changes, and you'll go from 0 camber to 3 to 4 degrees.
Well, dude, you're going insanely. Like it's such a wide change of adjustment. Because again, the RX-8, I remember we fucking spec'd everything out for the first time, and I just had some like monoblock wheels, and I was just gonna space it out for the time being while my multi-piece wheels were being built, and everything looked fine at ride height, and we went to air it out, and the front wheels just kept going. And I was like
6 degrees.
Oh my fucking! There was like 3 inches of it's like I didn't even I had stock wheels on this car. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna bring it up.
No, it's so funny because Dakota didn't know that who Stanty Pants was at the time, and because when I did my RX-8 build, he had just like rewrapped or whatever.
Yeah. This is when he was really getting into it.
To the bright blue, and like I came out and mine was bright blue, so it was like wide body, low bagged, or like not bagged, but like wide body dumped RX-8 bright blue big wing.
Yep.
And everyone's like, yo, that's Fancy Pants. And it's like, no. So Dakota thought it was just a goofy
I thought
nickname.
people were like legitimately calling him
Like,
Stancy.
you know, like,
joking, oh, you got
No,
lower
no, no.
cars, Fancy Pants. That's how I thought people were talking to Gels. I was like, that's so silly.
And so when the whole shit hit the fan with his car a couple years ago, Dakota's like, I didn't know that was an actual like dude.
I think that was a person. I thought they were literally like
Harassing him. Yeah.
harassing Gels.
I just want to know if you had chicken shit welded lower control arms too. That's my only question.
I didn't have touch of lower control.
Oh, perfect. Okay, just wondering.
Yeah.
You can
Also not running like 14-inch wide.
You
wheels
can
in the
cut that off if you want. I don't care. I just had to throw that in there.
We don't cut the pot.
Okay, all right. I don't know. It's not my show. I don't know how PG-13 you guys get.
Listen, we had Brian from Top Rank come on here.
Oh God, good
and
luck.
He laid into it, so you're good.
Yeah, he went in. Absolutely. That was a good episode. That was like episode 2 or something.
What's the second episode?
Just 0 to 100.
I remember like sitting outside and listening to it before. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, we were nervous about that one. But
Talking coilovers versus bags, though, I think I love the argument about how bags are more expensive.
yeah,
Because it should probably, I would argue, your average driver, they are, right? But
Oh, absolutely.
you can spec a set of coilovers. You pick up a set of Allens, that's or Olens, or however the hell they say it. That's $7,000-$8,000.
Oh yeah, you can get
coilovers way more expensive than bakes
That's what I'm
all
saying, yeah.
day long, baby.
So it
But
always
for the
makes me
most part,
giggle.
if you're running your extreme lows or the custom spring rate, you're spending like $1,500.
Yeah, correct.
But I got my eBay ones for $100 and they work just fine.
I've been running my Max heating rods for 3 years and I've had no issues.
God
May
damn.
as well just mount a 2x4 in there, boys. It'll ride better.
Pisses me off. I mean, and maybe it shouldn't, because maybe what it is it does ride good to them because they literally don't know any different.
Yeah.
That's true. I think about how I thought my first pickup sounded good because I cut the muffler off, and then I look back and I was like, "This is terrible."
Yeah, now my back hurts too much for that kind
Yeah,
of shit.
for real, we're too old.
I will never get over the Max heating rod argument. It just blows my mind. And like, I get it. I've been there. I've had to buy cheap parts before, but to just fucking constantly stand behind it.
Yeah, just be real about
Just
it.
be
Right?
like, hey, like it's all I can afford. It's getting me by for now. Fine.
It's
good.
totally
But
cool
like
to
when
come
it's
out.
like, they're fine. They're just as good as
They're as
Panes.
good as your
It's like,
tanks.
No, they're not. We know they're not.
It's
Who are
totally-
you lying to?
yeah.
Why? You don't need to justify. Like you said, just be like, yo, they were cheap. I got a good deal on them.
This
That's
is
why
what I
have
bought.
them
It's like,
right
this is
now.
what I can get right now.
Yeah.
It's like, got it.
Okay.
I work 15 hours a week at
Yeah.
the local fast food joint, dog. I can't afford $1,500 coilovers.
Gotta
That's
do what
3
you gotta
months
do.
worth of pay. You
But
know?
don't say they're better or can compete
Yeah,
with
don't.
the other ones, because
That's where you lose me.
I've bought cars and had like Racelands and stuff on it. Dude. And honestly, I was kind of impressed at first because I was like, holy shit, they aren't that bad. Until you get like on a bumpy road or you're on the highway. Dude, I had my radio eject from the center console on the highway because I hit like those like bridge connectors. Dude, gosh, the fucking radio went flying out. I was like, holy fuck. It even used to like, because, all right, my the battery cables were self-tapped into the posts. Previous owner stuff. I swear on my life.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
but I would
no,
hit those
this-
bridge connectors, and the whole
would
car,
shut
all
off.
everything, all the lights, they like. I remember driving at night. Headlights go off, the fucking dash lights all go, everything, all power.
Is it still running? Or is
Yeah,
it,
and then it comes back.
Well, at least it's running. Jesus, you imagine you're driving down the highway and you just lose everything,
dude.
power steering, brakes, the whole 9
Jesus
yards.
Christ,
It
fucking
was
coilovers
scary.
or EMP in your
Bro.
car.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, get a decent set of.
If you're
coilovers
running
and-
Racelands or Max heating rods, make sure you have more than self-tappers holding down your battery. That's what I'm learning.
Yeah, and realistically, if that is all you can afford, I would just get lowering springs to start off with while you save for some coils. Or if you can have a little bit of self-control, which I don't, so I'm not going to preach at you to do, you could wait a little bit longer. Just get $1,000 set, and you'll be a lot better than getting that
That's where,
$500 set.
That's where BC wins, in my opinion.
Yeah,
is,
BC
like,
does a good job of making an entry-level coilover.
if you just want, like, because if the thing is, a lot of these cars that guys are buying have a little bit higher miles on them. So if you're going to put lowering springs on, it's like, okay, I need $400 springs. I should probably do struts as well, right? Because my struts are shot.
You're going to be $700.
Yeah, you're $700-$800. If you just hold out for 2 more weeks, homie, and buy a set of coils, I promise you're going to be way happier. You're going to be way happier.
You think so, huh?
I know so.
The only thing that sucks with new cars is they got that stupid fucking
Mag ride?
adaptive
Yeah.
suspension. So then you start throwing check engine lights for having coilovers.
Well, just cancel it. Most of these
They're
guys.
$500
really?
for
Yeah, it's
cancelers.
insane.
See, this is why I drive trucks. We have coil springs and fucking leaks.
You gotta
for
buy
now.
like an additional
now,
computer
actually.
to fucking plug into your coilovers to trick it.
Dude, my dad picked up a newer F-150. That fucker got the 40-inch TV in the dash. I was like, what the
dude, the
fuck
like
is
9-inch
this?
iPad, they're wild, dude.
It's cool until it ain't. Like, I can just see something going wrong with that, and you're fucked. You're not. What are you gonna go get a JVC from Walmart and replace it? No, you gotta spend 40 grand to put a new TV in your
they're
truck.
not that bad. Seriously, because a lot of guys with the Mustangs will retrofit them, right? The Sync 3 to Sync 2 cars.
I thought it was pronounced Wedgewell fit.
How much dedicated wham for the servo?
For my Ford.
We went off.
Maybe how much to which
For
will
my
fit
dashboard.
which will
Okay,
fit
all
my
right, we're
radio.
getting to that point where we start mumbling. So, thank you to Fortune Auto, one of the best coilover companies, for sponsoring the podcast. I run Fortune Auto 500s on my soup, and I would never go back. I've ran them for a long time, and I really love Fortune Auto. So, I wouldn't say, I mean, if you can swing it, sure, do it as an entry level, but like Fortune Auto is like that next level. Like maybe you had a set of coilovers in the past and you're looking to upgrade, that's them because they're better and they ride so well, and it's perfect for daily driving and track.
Fortunatos are your first IPA after you drank Busch Light from
I'm not
17
an
on.
IPA guy.
Okay, well, insert random craft beer then, right? Spotted Cow. Not a craft beer, but
More of a Busch Light kind of guy.
I'm not surprised you're from Beaver, Tucky, buddy.
Don't drink and drive. We'll be back in a second. We back! Ow! We ow! Ow! All right, some not so fun stuff here is, all right, do your best.
No.
Why? Do your best white-tailed deer impression. Ooh. We're in Wisconsin. You should be able to do this.
Yeah, do it.
All right. Everyone radio silent.
You don't hear anything.
You get nervous
They
now
just
that you're
run
on
away,
camera?
bro. Yeah, I'm actually really. Oh,
That's pretty good.
that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, my deer. All right. See what
favorite-
happens when Alex ain't here? We can just say whatever.
You just go wild. I'm glad I can be the cool, fun fucking substitute teacher.
You're the
All right.
funkle.
Big,
Funkle.
big diesel dude.
Yeah, what up?
Yeah.
EPA been cracking down on some shit. What have you been
Dude,
seeing lately
it's
on the diesel side of things?
Yeah, it's not fun, man. It's like, and I hate to suck all the oxygen out of the room and
Yeah, I
make
was
this
having
like
fun a
I
second
know, make this a not fun conversation, but it's crazy, dude. Like Cummins just got hit for something like $9 million or so. I'd have to look it up. It's a lot. It was crazy amounts of money. No, I think it was more. There's billions. I think.
For what?
Jesus.
For just
Somebody should
diesel?
pull this. Either I'm gonna pull it, or one of you guys should Google it quick.
What do you need me to Google?
Just Google Cummins EPA lawsuit.
'Kay.
And it should tell you. I think it may even be billions. I may not be.
If it's
quoting that.
billions,
I
that's
think it is.
insane.
That's a lot of doubloons.
It's a lot, man. But what basically happened is the EPA came after him.
Oh,
It is, right? It's billions.
1.67 billion.
And that's without see, I thought it was, and that's without the recall. So they basically got hit by the EPA because they were selling emissions defeat devices, something that the truck didn't pass EPA Clean Air Act, right?
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. America, fuck yeah. Which is actually Canada, fuck yeah, because they can do that up there.
Canada.
We'll talk about that later. But so the EPA hit them for that. Plus, they have to issue a recall for like 300,000 or 400,000 pickup trucks.
Jesus.
So the Cummins figured it would cost them like $3 billion for this lawsuit, all because they
Jesus
violated
Christ.
this. Yeah. So as if that wasn't
Why
enough,
does it not bankrupt them?
well, because Cummins is massive.
I guess.
Like,
But
that's
billion is so
billions.
much money, though.
Yeah. Well, I
Ain't
mean,
a million. Ain't 10
Cummins is
ain't
probably
100.
$100 to $150 billion a year company. Like they're huge. They have tons of contracts for everything from on-road, off-road, generators. I mean, everything.
That's a lot of truck.
That's a lot of truck. It's a lot of diesel fuel. But so the EPA hit them a little while ago. They settled, obviously, a bunch of money. And then there was just another one. The reason I'm also like super fired up about this is Worley Custom Fab, which is a relatively small business out of northern Illinois, not that far from us.
Local.
Yeah. Just got hit for another settlement of like $260,000. And that's the thing is, it's not just big businesses anymore, right? The EPA is coming after mom and pop shops, right? Worley is a probably 50-person company. Like they're not big. Jason Worley, the company owner, is the founder. Like, Dirty Hooker Diesel got hit over in Michigan a couple years ago.
Excuse me. Who?
Dirty Hooker Diesel.
Why they be naming shit like that
This is
in the trucks?
this is a great story. Let me tell you this real quick. So the reason it's called DHD, right, Dirty Hooker Diesel, is Tony, company founder, has always been a Duramax guy, lives in Harbor Beach, Michigan, which is right on Lake Erie, right? Fishing town, tiny little fishing town.
Got it.
So
Where did the
just wait, hear it out. So Tony is in his shop, just about to start. He's working on, at the time he owns All Season Sales and Service, which is a lawn and garden repair store essentially. And he's starting a diesel performance shop. And he's on the phone with his buddy and he says, I don't know what to name my business, right? Like I have no idea. Tony's a truck puller. That's important, right? When you hook to a sled pull, it's called a hook, right? Every time you pull, it's called a hook. And so his buddy on the phone says, well, just take a look at a boat. Like people who have boats are rich and they have nothing better to do than to spend their time naming their boat. And Tony goes, well, shit, there's a boat in my shop right now that I'm doing some work on because he just fixed everything. And he walks around the corner, and the boat is called the Dirty Hooker. So the DHD was founded. It's kind of a cool story.
That was a cool story. This is now the Dirty Hooker Podcast. Wait.
We actually could start one of those, to be honest. You know, I don't know. Given the state of the world, it may not be a good idea.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make here is that the EPA is going after everyone and anyone that's either manufactured emission defeat devices, installed emission defeat devices. I mean, it's crazy. They crushed a truck a couple of months or like a year ago now. I don't know if you guys heard that story.
Crushed a truck?
Yeah.
Like they targeted one person?
So dude had a Cummins, and I don't know. The internet will tell you that he was targeted. You don't just flag the attention of the EPA with
That's what I'm saying.
something, right? Like you got to call some attention to yourself. But anyway, he's selling his deleted truck, right? His Ram, listed for sale. Somehow or another gets wound up with the EPA. The EPA tells him you have two options. Option one is you fix your truck and put an emissions device back on it. Option two, we seize your truck. You can't sell it because it doesn't have emissions on it. You can't keep it because you want to get rid of it, right? He was just whatever. And so what inevitably happened is because the truck was worth $20,000 and the emissions is worth $15,000 to put back on, he's like, well, I'm not going to spend that money. I don't have that money to pay for it. So the EPA seized his truck and fucking crushed it.
That's insane. What the hell?
Yes, dude. For an agency that isn't even a legal governing body.
I don't even get how that's legal or how that happens.
And
couldn't you say off-road use or something?
No, because that doesn't work anymore. There is no such thing as off-road use.
Really?
Yeah.
So interesting. Like for anything, or is it like specifically for
everything. So what you're seeing is you can circumvent the laws in like racing and stuff if you're either manufacturing an engine block, right? Because then it's not an on-road engine; it's a custom engine. Or what a lot of guys are doing is they're taking older blueprints, right? They're taking stuff from, from like the early 2000s and things like that. Sorry, that's Ryan. I think that's the guy that's coming to look at. Yeah.
Somebody for the show, he just opened the door. He's like, "What the fuck?"
They're filming. I'm out.
And then he left.
We have this gigantic light.
It's probably scary, honestly.
It's really like,
sorry, I was trying to get through that, and I just like mentally blocked.
I know.
As I was watching
I
that.
felt so bad. I felt so bad.
Sorry.
Yikes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, we saw a lot of this on the car side of things.
Yeah,
too.
with like Cobb and
Luckily,
stuff.
it seems like they like backed up. But yes, that Cobb shit that happened was so bad, and everyone was super mad at Cobb. And I do think there were a couple of things that Cobb could have handled it a little bit better. But at the same time, dude, that shit was coming down hard, and it was coming down fast, and they did what they had to do.
Save the business.
And they were trying to save the business. So I think they got a little more flack than what they should have, because it's like they just all of a sudden start swinging. Like the EPA just comes in and starts swinging all of a sudden. And
They don't knock on the door; they kick it down.
It's amazing who they target, because they said like Cummins. Okay, like obviously that's a really, really big company. Like understandably, the EPA is going to have eyes on that. But like when we're talking about smaller
WC
mom and
Fab
pop
and stuff
shops
like
that are just like, I think we're going to just fucking really mess these guys up for no particular reason.
Well,
It's like
what
how do they even?
What happens is what they'll do is they'll kick the door down and they'll say you have two options. Option one is we'll fine you, whatever, how many hundreds of millions of dollars, right? The kind of stuff that bankrupts even big companies.
Right. It's essentially meant to shut you down.
Or option two is we'll make you pay a 2%, 3% of this, but you have to disclose every record of every emissions device that you sold in the last X number of years. And so it's like, what do you do, right? As a business owner, and as a human being, you don't want to do that. But as a business owner, you can't. It'll literally ruin your entire life. So these guys are put between a rock and a hard place, and then they have to make super tough decisions.
Yeah, it's tricky. And what's scary is like, I feel like soon, I mean, dude, any tuning shop is not going to be around.
It's knocking on the door, yeah.
the risk isn't worth it. It's not like these tuning shops are making millions of dollars. You know, like
It's good money, but
And
not.
it sounds like you just get no warning.
No, there's nothing. They don't tell you. They don't anything. They just someday they just show up on your fucking doorstep and
yeah, and I'm just talking about those.
God
Local,
damn.
like I'm thinking about like the places I went to get my cars to,
Yeah.
and how much it would suck to just see those places go away because the EPA's doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
And that's scary. So I guess if there's anything we can do about it, I know sometimes there's stuff you can vote on and whatnot.
Yeah, the big thing is like the RPM Act is still very alive and well, right? You know, as boring and as adult as this sounds, right? Reaching out to your congressman if you're of legal voting age and, you know, telling them to not endorse those type of things. And really all we can do is just make noise and try to fight back.
Yeah,
you know,
because
other
for
than that,
whatever reason, our industry has just been in the fucking sights for the last few years, and it's not. I don't see it getting any better unless we do have acts like the RPM Act. So yeah, I mean, like you said, it is boring and sounds like adult to really talk about. But it's like if you still like to do this stuff, which we really like to do this stuff, I think it is our time.
Careful, they're coming for your rotary next. I know how inefficient that engine is, bro.
You shut the fuck up.
Jels and I on the way to Gatlinburg last year had a competition of who had the lower fuel economy. He drove his car. I trailered
This is how they find
Ferrari
us.
with my truck.
This is how they find out. I thought that was the EPA coming through the doors just now.
Joke's on you. It is. They're waiting till we're done.
Oh my God.
He's having lunch right now.
You've been served. Fuck me.
You just go open the door and they have your car on a flatbed.
It's already picked up.
Oh, nuts.
Yeah, there better be fucking death fluid in that flatbed. That's all I'm saying.
That's what's wild. Hold up. That's what's wild. So they come after the diesel industry. Let me throw this little tidbit in there. But all of the government diesels are deleted. Every Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marine vehicle that's produced most of them run a Duramax out of Banks Power in California, mind you, which makes it even more funny that they produce, non-emissions compliant vehicles, and built in Oshkosh, which is just a little ways from us. But it's hilarious that they'll knock the door down, serve you papers, and then drive away in a deleted truck. What the fuck, man?
What the fuck? Wait till they find out about Taylor Swift.
Yeah, yo, did you see that shit about the airplane?
Wasn't there like an airplane tracker?
Well, so it's public knowledge, right? Some dude was posting when her flight was taking off and landing because you can just track the
We gotta be careful. We say too much that we're gonna get attacked by not only the EPA but the Swifties.
Well, I just don't understand why people are mad about this. Let her live her life.
No, I know.
You don't need to know where she is.
It's just it is
her jet deleted?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It is just a little insane when you look at it.
Oh, the amount of flights that take.
It's like 20 miles and she's taking a jet.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm really well. I mean, to be fair, right? This is a complete sidebar, but when you reach that level of stardom, I wouldn't want to walk down the street either, bro.
who said anything about walking?
Well, but you know what I'm saying.
I guarantee you're taking 15 minutes to drive to the fucking airport.
Take a helicopter.
Yes.
What?
Bad things.
The helicopter is bad news.
I don't know, man. My homie up in Kelowna, British Columbia, says he loves helicopters. He bought
You love them till you hate them.
Yeah,
he was in
they scare me.
He bought a chopper that was just about to be out of its service log, and then flew it for like 3 or 4 years.
I love
without a
aviation.
license.
Big aviation nerd. You won't find me in a fucking helicopter.
Really?
They're scary.
Interesting. That's
Dude,
that's a hot
shit
take.
go
boys.
wrong so fast.
I guess I don't know. I don't fly, so
Yeah.
JK. Well, I'll do like commercial flights, but I don't like Cessnas. I'm good.
Oh, that's the best.
I feel like that'd be fine.
I hate
We're getting
flights.
out of there. So appreciate you guys tuning in, Dustin. I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Where
boys.
can they
This was fun.
find you?
Yeah,
Where can they keep up with the
where does
old Dusty
Dustin
LBZ?
EPA, listen up here.
Yes.
You can find me at the intersection of. No, I'm not going there. That was about to get really, really dark, really fast. Listen, all I'm saying is when he comes to serve me my papers, the first thing I'm going to ask him is if his plates are level 4. For real though, you guys can find me on all the socials, Dusty_LBZ. That's where you'll find me: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I think that's it. I don't really know that I post anymore. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
There you go.
Nice job, dude. Appreciate it. And thank you guys to listening. We appreciate. Thank you to listen. I'm running out of words here. I've hit my limit. So we're gonna try to get
the free-to-play
this
version
out.
is out. It's $5.99 for any more additional words.
You want car part? Go MartiniWorks.com.
.com.
Why?
Bye.
More words when few words, many better.
Many do.
He needs a nap.